What happens when you start practicing the piano for just 10 minutes every single day? It's going to change everything for you. And I'm going to explain why in this video. I've got 4 main points. But before we get to these 4 main points, I want to explain to you that 10 minutes is really not that much time. I mean, you already know that. 10 minutes is nothing. You're going to be watching this video for the next 10 minutes, right? So just for a quick frame of reference, just think 10 minutes every day. You can find that time. Anyone can find an extra 10 minutes every day. I can probably find an extra couple of hours every day from like scrolling on my phone or something, or doing something unproductive. All you need is 10 minutes, right? So you could take 10 minutes from something else that you do. And you don't have to quit that thing. Like, for example, if you play video games or something, you could just take 10 minutes from video games and put it into the piano. And it's all you need. All you need is 10 minutes. Of course, if you want to progress to higher levels on the piano, you're going to need to put in a little bit more than 10 minutes every day. But 10 minutes a day is an incredible starting place. And the way that I like to teach the piano and music is through a foundational approach. I teach foundation. I teach the basics, right? What is the foundation? Well, if you take a look at a tree, we are only able to look at trees because they have a really solid foundation, right? The root system. And the way that I teach the piano and the keyboard and unlock the keyboard is that I encourage and I guide my students to establish a really solid foundation, a really solid root system, a musical root system that's going to allow you to actually, become a really magnificent tree and bear incredible fruits. Because that's what we want to do in the music journey. We want to bear fruits with our music, right? We want to create original work that reflects us and that reflects our life journey. We want to pour our own originality, our own musical ideas into the piano and into our composition, our music production, our performance, right? That's why I love playing the piano. You don't have to do that on the piano. You might just want to learn the piano just to have fun and play your favorite songs. That's fine. That's still bearing fruit. That's still bearing musical fruit. But what I'm saying here is that you want to establish a very solid root system. Well, let me tell you that the absolute fundamental of a root system is that the roots, for a tree to grow, for a seed to become a tree, it needs to start to form that root system. It needs to go down into the earth more and start forming those roots. You know how you do that on the piano? You practice. It's the only way. You have to practice. If you don't want to practice, but you want to unlock the keyboard, you want to be able to play the piano, I'm sorry to break it to you, but those things do not align. You have to actually practice, okay? Now, 10 minutes a day is all you need to get started, because that's going to start to stretch out the root system. You don't have to put in an hour every day. You don't have to even put in 30 minutes a day. Why? Because a seed doesn't have the root system of a tree yet. It's working towards that root system, and so it's gonna gradually, I don't know how roots work. I don't know how a seed actually grows roots, but I'm sure it burrows into the earth and gradually it forms its network. That's what you're doing with 10 minutes of practice every day. Okay, let's get into these 4 reasons why. Let's kind of elaborate on this. The first reason is that it establishes the habit of practice. Practicing is a habit. And when you focus on making it a habit, making it something that you do automatically, then that's the main thing, okay? And that's what a habit is. It's something that we do automatically. I've got my cup of tea in front of me. It's a habit for me when the cup of tea is in front of me to drink from it, right? That's habit. Okay? So you want to make piano practice as automatic as brushing your teeth, for example. And you can do that by just doing 10 minutes every day. It's going to be much harder if you decide, I want to practice 30 minutes every day. I want to practice an hour every day. No, that's too much, because it's you can't build a habit with that. Okay? You can't build a habit with that. So you got to start small. You got to start with baby steps. Okay? And so once it becomes habit, it's going to require less willpower and less discipline from you. And so you really want to work on making it a habit. What's one way that you can do this? You can use this concept from Atomic Habits called habit stacking, where you do one thing, and then you do the next thing, and then you do the next thing, and they're all tied together. It's a stack of habits. For example, you could set up your 10 minutes a day in the morning after you've had breakfast, right? You have breakfast, you brush your teeth, and then you practice the piano. Those are 3 automatic habits that you can build into your daily routine. The next thing, the next point here is that it builds momentum, right? When you're actually sitting down to practice every single day, what's going to happen is your skills are going to compound, actually. And you're going to gain momentum, right? On Monday, you start by learning the C major scale, let's say. So you start learning the C major scale, but you make it a little bit of progress, but you're like, oh, I don't feel like I got anywhere today, right? On Tuesday, you come back to it, you pick up where you left off and be like, okay, cool. I mean, it was only yesterday, so let me just keep working on that. By Wednesday, you've learned the C major scale. By Thursday, you've mastered it. By Friday, you've already developed finger dexterity from practicing it. Why? Because you're compounding, you're building on those skills. Whereas if you show up on Monday to learn the scale and you get a little bit done, but not quite, then when you come back on Thursday, you've lost what you had done on Monday. Does that make sense? Right? So it compounds, right? It doubles. It's almost like exponential. Like it honestly compounds if you're showing up every single day and you build that momentum, and it gets easier to practice as well. Requires less discipline. Why? My third point here. By practicing every day, you affirm your new identity as a piano player and as somebody who practices music. Guess what? If you have that identity as someone who practices music, yeah, I'm a musician. I practice the piano. Tell people that as well. Like, you want to establish that identity in your head, right? Identity is everything. If you believe you are one thing, you will be that thing and you will act like that thing. So if you believe I am a musician, I practice the piano, well, guess what? You're gonna do that, okay? You want to affirm that identity. Well, of course, if you are actually practicing the piano every day, that is going to affirm that identity. You are going to become somebody who practices the piano, right? And then my last point here is that you win the game. What do I mean by this? You win the game. Well, I was explaining before that developing musical skills and unlocking the keyboard and being able to play the piano is like growing a tree, right? So what's the game of a tree? What would be winning the game as a tree? It would be, developing a beautiful, lush kind of leaf system, branch system, and bearing fruit, right? And so on the piano, you're going to bear fruit, meaning you're going to be able to create your own music on the piano, express yourself, and play your favorite songs on the piano with fluency, fluidity, and freedom. Oh, that's cool. The 3 Fs. I hadn't thought of it that way. By practicing, right? But by practicing what? Consistently. That is the key. That is the game right there. Consistency. It's all consistency. Everything in life is consistent. Consistency, rather. A seed only becomes a tree because it's consistently growing. So you need to be consistently growing on the piano. If you're not practicing every day, if you're practicing a couple of times a week, that's still fine. You're still being somewhat consistent. But your quality of consistency, your density of consistency, let's say, I don't know, you get what I'm saying, right? The more consistent you are, if you're doing something every single day, you've won the game. And moreover, you become a consistent person. That's the game right there with music. It wasn't until last year that I actually became consistent with my piano practice. I've been playing the piano for like almost 20 years at this point. I only just got proper consistent last year, and by that I mean pretty much showing up every single day to practice, regardless of how I feel. Like actually every single day and not missing a day. Of course, you don't have to be so rigid with that. Like it's good to be consistent every day, but don't be like, oh, no, I'm not gonna go and do that fun activity with my friends because I gotta get my practice in. Like, be fluid with your life. But the game is that you want to become consistent, especially if you want to become a serious musician and a creative musician. And you want to reach those high levels on the piano, you absolutely can. And the way to do it is consistency. And so if you show up for 10 minutes every day, congratulations, you've won the game because you're consistent. Does that make sense? You've won the game. So hopefully you understand now why practicing just 10 minutes every day is everything. That's just going to change everything for you. And this is going to be what actually sets you on a trajectory to becoming a legendary musician, unlocking the keyboard, being able to play your favorite songs, being able to have freedom on the piano, and all of that. I really hope that this video was helpful. If it was, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. And stay tuned for more videos like this. I've also got piano tutorials, and if you want extra help and speed and a clear map to follow, you can check the link out below. Thank you so much. See you next time.